I'm Chitufahadungs, and I'm here to talk about the MoondogLabs Anamorphic adapter. Just as the GoPro Anamorphic, this is an unusual adapter in the sense that most people taking photography and cinematography seriously these days wouldn't think of shooting with iPhones, no matter how many articles come out praising their cameras and capabilities. That's also sort of what I think, or thought. We're talking about phone and not a camera. This is where things get mixed up a bit. One of my favorite parts of experimenting with MoondogLabs' lens was the reduced amount of control I had over the resulting image. All I could do, literally, was point the camera towards what I wanted to shoot and press record. From this point on, you start exploring the kind of things you wouldn't or couldn't do with a regular camera. The lack of control permitted me to focus less on the gear porn part of the tests and more on the shots that I was trying to get. I think one of the biggest selling points of this adapter is this feature Tangerine, which screened at Sundance Festival in 2015 and was shot entirely on an iPhone and the MoondogLabs' adapter. I'm not going to say the shots are incredible and clean, but they have a character that matches the film perfectly. They're gritty and noisy and free-moving. There is very little subject separation from the background, lots of wide-angle shots, including close-ups, and clever use of lighting. Tangerine is not the usual film as well, telling the stories of two transgender women in a busy Christmas Eve, with the type of representation we need to see in film today. Being less political and coming back to the gear, this adapter is tiny. It weighs only 48 grams, and it comes in several different versions, one for each new model of the iPhone since the iPhone 5. The one that I used was one of the first generations for the 5S, and I'm quite curious to see how MoondogLabs is going to deal with the dual camera on the new iPhones. Their first run was funded by a Kickstarter campaign, and they seem to be doing fine ever since. The adapter is a two-element fixed focus construction which relies on the small sensor to deliver sharp focus and good image quality all across the frame. The adapter has 1.33 stretch, and it fits perfectly around the corners of the phone, covering completely the rear camera. There's no way to misalign it. And unfortunately, it's not the type of thing that you put it on and then leave it on, keeping it in your pocket, because the setup has a weird shape with nothing to protect the front element when it's mounted on your phone. So you have to put it on and take it off every time you're going to shoot something. This little switch on the back tightens or loosens the connection between the adapter and the phone to make it easier to take it off or put it in. But even if it's engaged, you can still slide it off pretty easily. The lens comes with a neat case, which makes it convenient to keeping it in your pocket until the moment of photo taking or video making arises. About dealing with the squeezed footage on your phone, I read great things about the Desqueeze app, which allows you to preview the real aspect ratio straight on your phone and change a few other things related to image sizes and resolutions. The best part, the app is free, so you can find the link in the description. In terms of buying one of these adapters, you can find them at the MoondogLabs' website, and it doesn't matter the model or the version for the iPhone. They all go for the same price, $175. You can find them on eBay every once in a while for a little cheaper, but like 10 bucks or 15, which doesn't quite make sense to me because how come something doesn't lose price when it's used? But anyway, If you love your camera's capabilities, your phone camera's capabilities, and the anamorphic format, 175 is not too bad for a unique product. Assessing for sharpness wasn't easy because the iPhone 5's camera is tough to work with, so I shot similar photos and videos with lots of light and low light, and I'm not impressed with any of the results, but it's probably much more the camera's fault than the adapters. When it comes to flares, this 1.33 adapter is incredibly similar to the anamorphics I used on the GoPro. The flares are not as long and not as prominent, but they're there. They take the color of the light source, which indicates the coatings are fairly simple or non-existent. As it was the case with the GoPro anamorphics, I see this adapter as an attempt to expand the range of devices that can shoot our beloved anamorphic format, and not constrain it to the complex builds that we have when shooting with DSLR, mirrorless, or even cine cameras. It also solves issues that annoy in big systems such as double focus or trains of lenses and heavy fronts. True, you'll have less control and your image quality is capped by your phone's camera capabilities, but at the same time, you are allowed to focus more on the creative aspects of shooting and not be so stuck to what are the gear limitations. You just go out and shoot. And if I have any criticism for this adapter, I would say it's the mounting process made me quite uneasy about constantly putting it on the phone, taking it out, putting it on the case, taking it off the case. And it's so small that I was always afraid of dropping it and breaking it. So if there's a solution for keeping it mounted, I would say that's great. What do you think of shooting anamorphic on your phone? Do you think it's a valid option, or would you stick to just like full body cameras? Let me know in the comments below what you think. And I shouldn't have to remind you, but if you love anamorphic, you really should subscribe because this is all I talk about in this channel. And if you have any questions about this video or about anamorphic in general, just shoot them in the comments as well. You can also support my research on my Patreon page, and I am running low on the stock of these amazing t-shirts. So if you want to grab yours, now's the perfect time. The links are all in the description. I'm Chito, and I'll see you next week.